We don't send out the slides, but if you ever need to refer to it, it should be available later on. Yeah. Okay, good morning. So one thing I'd like you to notice on your screen, you have some options of how things are displayed. You can move around the videos. And speaking of videos, we would love to see your smiles this morning. If you're at all comfortable, please go ahead and turn on your video screen. You can change kind of where those are displayed on your screen by moving them around, or there's a few different views available, speaker view, gallery view. Go ahead and play with that so you can see things how you want to see them. Also, notice the chat feature. I'm sure everybody's pretty used to Zoom, but in the chat feature, we would love to hear where you're joining us from, what industry are you in, and if you could go ahead and share your LinkedIn URL so that we can connect, because we've got to make the most of this platform so we can actually establish some conversations and interactions while we're here. In our chat, you aren't able to copy and paste from it, so you need to make a link clickable. And the way to do that is to grab the address from your browser bar on LinkedIn. If you're not familiar, you go to LinkedIn, click on where your picture should be, say view profile, and then that address bar at the top with the HTTPS. There you go, Andrew, Robert, thank you for putting yours in there. That gets us started. Now everybody can click on Robert and connect with him. So that's what we'd like to see happen today, since we're not in the same room. That just really helps us establish some networking, which of course is this morning's topic. Also in the chat, please feel free to ask questions. If any of the speakers say something that wasn't clear or triggers a question for you, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll do our best to address that. You can chat with the whole group, or you can chat one-on-one with a person. So you feel free to use those options. Also, if you can, make sure that your screen name is your name. You can see all of our speakers have their speaker names and usually a company name with it. So if on the picture of your video, there's 3 little dots up in the corner. If you click that, one of the options there is rename. So you can go ahead and let us know your name so we know who we're chatting with. Okay, I think next I will show you, I think we talked, yes. So at the end, after the presentations, we will have breakout rooms this morning. I'm super excited about that. This reminds me of when we used to have in-person events and we had the tables. You could kind of float around to the different tables if you wanted help with your resume or you wanted to speak to one of the companies. That's what we're doing in the breakout room. So be sure to stay for that. We also have closed captioning available for those who need it. You can just point your phone at the QR code and it'll open the browser, or you can enter this bit.ly/2021_April 8. And you'll need that event ID. I'll put that in the chat in a few minutes for you if you need that. Thank you to the closed captioner who's here with us. Okay, so this morning we have one of my favorite speakers, Dave Sherman is here, and I promise you, will put you at ease with the idea of networking. He'll talk about networking versus sales. Is there a difference? Because if you are in the mode of looking for a new career, you're going to need to be comfortable networking. And if you're like me, it's not your first choice of interaction, but Dave will put you at ease and give you all kinds of tips on how to make that happen. Then we will hear from Community Medical Services, Hawaiian Airlines, Logicalis, Freedom Financial Network, and a new partner of ours, the Entrepreneur Source. And then, like I said, at the end, we'll have breakout rooms, and those will go until noon. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Dave. Dave Sherman is an internationally known trainer, speaker, and best-selling author, specializing in teaching people how to mix, mingle, and schmooze. Dave was an award-winning retail business owner and has written 3 best-selling books on networking and sales. When he owned his coaching and consulting firm, he had the pleasure of working with companies such as Toyota, Southwest Airlines, Northwestern Mutual, American Express, Wells Fargo, Raytheon, Medtronic, and hundreds more. He is the proud father of Lindsay and Matthew and is married to his wonderful Lisa. He lives in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, loves golf, movies, any kind of travel, and his only real vices these days are Diet Mountain Dew, a good bottle of red wine, and a great cigar. Oh, there he is with his Mountain Dew. All right, good morning, Dave. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to be here. You know, it's really funny. I haven't heard anybody read my bio in a while. And when she reads the part that says Dave is the father of Lindsay and Matthew, many of you are probably saying to yourself, going, "Oh, that's so cute. He's mentioning his toddler children." Well, when I started mentioning them, I think they were 8 and 5. They are now 31 and 28. So it doesn't have the same impact on them that it used to, but they still love that every time I get an intro read, their names are mentioned. And obviously my wonderful Lisa is always thrown in there. All right, good morning, everybody. Yeah, I am thrilled to be here. As it was said, my name is Dave Sherman. I have had the tremendously great fortune of speaking to career connectors since probably the beginning. I don't even know how many I've done, but it's one of my all-time favorite places is to be able to help people in career transition. You know, somebody told me once that one of the greatest mitzvahs you can perform, one of the greatest good deeds you can do in your life is to help somebody find work. So I figure if there's something that I can share with you today that helps you find a job faster, it's all worth it. I'm so glad to be able to do that. And, you know, that's what I want to do today is I want to share some tips and tools with you. And, you know, the title of this is, you know, relatively simple: sales versus networking. Is there a difference? Because I started to think about this, and it's funny, any of you that have heard me speak before, this is going to be somewhat different because a lot of times, you know, there'll be some similar things, but it's going to be a little different than what I've done before. So let's dive into this. I've just been told I have control of the screen. That might not be a good idea because I could put anything on here now. Yes. No, I will be good. Oh, there it is. Look, little arrow over there. All right. Yahoo. Sales versus networking. Are they that different? You will notice that I have a nice little beach and ocean view because it's one of my favorite views. You will also look in my background. There's beach and an ocean view. And some of you are going, where can I get that backdrop? Well, you're going to have to reach out to me personally because I actually took that picture. This is the Sea of Cortez. This is the body of water on the east side of the Baja Peninsula. There is a very sleepy little Mexican village at the very tip of the Sea of Cortez called Puerto Penasco, also known as Rocky Point. Nobody outside of Arizona has probably ever heard of it. And this is, I go down probably about 3-4 times a year because it's one of my favorite places on earth. And this is the view from the balcony at the place that I stay at. So I have this on both my monitors. I have this everywhere because this is the thing that makes me smile and gives me good feelings as I'm doing this. So I didn't use this with every slide, but at least I could put a nice little beach view in all my other slides. So let's take a look at this. I've been teaching people how to sell for probably 20 plus years. And I always believe in making it very simple. So I believe in a six-step sales process: rapport building, discovery, building value, presenting a price, asking for the sale, and overcoming objections. Now, for today's discussion, we're going to eliminate a couple of these. Okay, we're going to take out presenting a price, okay, because I don't think yes, we're trying to sell ourselves, but we don't put an actual monetary figure on it, or maybe we do with salaries and such. And I'm also going to take out overcoming objections because that doesn't really fit with what I'm going to try and cover because I know that I have about 45 minutes and I will not go long because I have maintained the ability to never go long on one of my presentations. Also, I have the chat box up so I can get an opportunity to see things that are in there because truthfully, Sheila, I really love this thing about controlling the screen without having to share the screen because it makes it a lot easier to interact with the chat box. So this is really cool. This is something I'm going to have to put in place in my regular 9 to 5. So let's move forward. If you have questions, if you've got comments, if there's anything you want to say, please put it in the chat box and we'll take it from there. So these are the areas of sales that, I try to get people to look at. So when you look at sales and you look at networking, what you're trying to do in the selling world as well as the networking world is increasing your level of likability and commonality. This has been my mantra my entire career. For probably 25, 30 years, this is the number one thing I have promoted over and over and over and over again, because I believe likability and commonality is the foundation for everything. If you can get to a point where the people you are talking to, the people you are meeting, like you and have something in common with you, the chances of them helping you get what you want is going to be dramatically greater. So these are the things that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to continue to go through this, but I want you to think in your head. I want you to continue to think. Remember, I want to build my likability and commonality very quickly, because I do not think I go into a lot of this. Very simple. Likability. What are those things that make people like you? Commonality. What are those things that you have common with others? Such as, where are you from? Like the last paragraph that Sheila mentioned about that my kids and I love, movies and travel and golf and all of that. And my only real vices are Diet Mountain Dew, great cigars, and a good bottle of red wine. I don't know if it was in that order, but I don't put that up there just because it's kind of cute. I put it up there because it creates great likability and great commonality with some. Now, I also understand it might cause less likability with others, but I'm willing to risk that. And for those of you that are sitting there saying to yourself, how can you drink this stuff? I'm going to say what I say at every one of these sessions. Please leave me alone. It's not crack. Okay. Just want to, for all the health nuts out there that are going, how could you drink that swill? Just let it go. All right. So increase your level of commonality and likability. So here's what I want to do. Folks, if you could excuse me for 1 second, literally 1 second, for some reason on a day that I'm doing this, there's a truck outside doing something very loud, so I'm going to go close my window. I will be back in about 10 seconds. Don't you just love Zoom? There you go, Megan. Now that's relatable. Exactly. It never fails. I've never had a truck outside my window ever, and I've been working from home for longer than I can count. So we are going to start talking about selling, and the product, folks, is you. Because as you all obviously know, networking is the number one way to find a job, plain and simple. And if you're not networking, let me say what I've always said. All of you are going to find a job. I'm going to tell you right now, just rest assured, every single one of you will find a job. The question is, how quickly you find one will depend on how much networking you do. If you do lots of networking, you're going to find a job faster, because you're going to get to meet more people. You're going to get to talk to more people. You're going to be able to make more connections. They're going to be able to connect you to other people, and you can land jobs faster. So we're going to talk about selling, and the product is YOU. So let's move on. So again, the sales topics that we're going to talk about: rapport building, discovery, building value, asking for the sale. So here we go. Rapport building. You obviously know the first time you meet somebody, and again, for those of you that come from a sales world, you're going to be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, he's absolutely right. These are identical. When you meet somebody, whether it be through Zoom, whether it be face-to-face, I understand the whole COVID thing has thrown a major wrench in all of the networking world. I get it. But at some point coming up, it's going to get back to some sense of normalcy. I am proud to say, woohoo, I got both of my shots. It'll be 2 weeks on Sunday, which means I think I will be fully covered. So happy about that. Hope a lot of you have gone through the same. So with rapport building, things that you want to do is to be able, rapport building is the perfect thing for likability and commonality. First thing you want to do, okay, is you want to be friendly. Okay, be friendly, because believe me, people don't like hanging out with angry people. They don't like hanging out with depressing people. So let people see who you are and, put a friendly face on. Be transparent. Let people see who you really are for two reasons. One, if you connect with somebody and you're in a certain way and they connect you with somebody else and you're not that way with them, that's not a good situation. So let them see who you are. If you're outgoing and gregarious and humorous and all of that, be that way. If you're a little more subdued and, a little quieter and things like that, be that way also. The other thing is if you constantly are putting that mask on and trying to maintain that facade, it gets exhausting, utterly exhausting. So let people see who you really are, because you're looking to find a job. You want them to see who the real you is. Next, be authentic, be truthful. Let them see, let them learn about you. When you start talking about things, when you're rapport building, you talk about a lot of things besides just what's on your resume or what you're looking for. This goes back to likability and commonality. I tell people all the time, there's, like for instance, when I closed my window, I could have said, excuse me, folks, please excuse me for one moment, and go over there and close my window and come back. No, I'm going to tell you there's a big loud truck outside my window, because people want to know that this is the person they're talking to. If any of you have ever met me face to face, I am no different live than I am on Zoom, or if I'm on a podium somewhere, I'm on a lectern somewhere. I am the same person. You want to make sure you're the same thing. So if you meet somebody on Zoom and you decide to end up meeting each other or talking to each other, they want to make sure that you're the same person that they met initially. What do we got here? For me, I like to think of networking as building relationships and making friends. That I'm comfortable. It's exactly right. It is a matter of making friends, and that's what it is. And again, that's in the sales world. That's in the networking world. Because here's the thing that everyone always says. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So let's change that. People like to network with people they know, like, and trust. Unfortunately, when I first meet you, I'm not going to really know you. When I meet you, I'm not going to really trust you yet because I don't know you, but I can certainly like you. So think about that. Likability, commonality. If you're one of those people that's a little freaked out about all of this, just understand it's a matter of making friends, talking to people, see what happens. And the last part of rapport building, and this is the key, when you are talking to people, when you are meeting others, if you want to build great rapport, be interested, not just interesting. The point I'm making is get to learn about the person you're talking to. Ask questions. Be interested in what they want. And I understand some of you are saying, well, Dave, when I network, I need to find a job. I understand that. I do. I completely understand that. I've been, it's funny when I first started talking to, speaking to career connector groups, I had never been laid off, ever. And it was really interesting. And it's amazing how my topics and my presentations have changed over the years, because I've been laid off a couple of times. I got let go from a company, and it changes you. But one of the things you've got to be able to do is, I understand you're looking for a job. I understand you have a resume. I understand you have responsibilities, but you have to show interest in the person that you're talking to. This is not all about, hi, nice to meet you. Here's my resume. What do you want to know about me? Be interested in what they are, what they want. Like, for instance, things that you could do, and I think I talk about this later. If some people have unique backdrops, if you have one, great. If you don't, get one, because it's a great way to set you apart from everybody else. A lot of times people, and also when you come on things like this, let them see your face. Put yourself on video, because that shows who you are. I mean, if I can get to see who you are, makes it a lot easier for me to connect with you. So remember, be interested, not just interested. Because if you become interested and build that level, build that foundation of friendship with somebody, they're going to be more interested in what you have to tell them. So that is rapport building. Let's move on. Discovery. One of my favorite topics when it comes to the sales world. But discovery with you folks is no different, because what you're trying to find out is you're trying to find out about the person you're talking to. You're trying to find out about the business that you are applying to. So for instance, we have all sorts of people with us today. We have Hawaiian Airlines. It is one. I mean, all I do is I look at him and I go, I want a job that I can wear a Hawaiian shirt every day. Okay, one of these days that might happen, but not yet. But I will tell you, we were actually supposed to be in Kauai in middle of September last year. And unfortunately, that trip got canceled because of COVID. So now all I want to do is figure out a time to be able to get back over there. So hopefully by year's end, we'll be able to get over there. But if you look at his backdrop, there's pictures of airplanes. You know, who doesn't want to talk about Hawaii? You know, I know that we've got Freedom Financial here, and we have, you know, all sorts of other people here. You want to find out about their businesses. It's not about you yet. You've got to be able to ask questions about them. So what you want to do when you go into discovery is I want you to think of yourself as a doctor. When you go to a doctor's office and say you go in because you have headaches, you walk in, does the doctor walk in and go, okay, what's going on? And he goes, oh, doc, I'm sorry, I have headaches. And, you know, I have headaches, they're really bad. He goes, oh, no problem. Take this pill. Thank you very much. Here's a bill. No, that doctor's going to ask you a whole bunch of questions. What time of day do you have the headaches? Is it a pulsating pain or is it a sharp pain? How long does it last? What part of your head is it in? You know, does it have more in day or night? You know, is there anything specific about it? They're going to ask you every imaginable question so they can come up with the right answers. So every time you ask these questions, listen to the responses. I would also ask more questions. Listen to the responses. Because when you're talking to people and you're getting to know who they are, you're going to ask all of these questions, and everything they tell you is just more information you can learn about them. This is all tied into the idea of being interested, not just interesting. So when you're talking to somebody and you're creating this, you know, this networking friendship, you want to learn about them. You want to find out what they need, what they're looking for, how they might be able to help you. You all have heard of Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar is one of my all-time favorite motivational speakers. He is quoted as always saying, if you help enough people get what they want out of life, they will help you get what you want out of life. Before you can get to that point, though, you got to get to know the person you're talking to, and that is through discovery. So ask questions, ask more questions. And also, here's the other thing, and you could probably tell by my accent, I am not a native Arizonan. I've lived here almost 40 years, but I'm originally from Pennsylvania. So I'm an East Coaster, which means I talk fast, and I also have a tendency of interrupting because obviously everything I have to say is vitally important. When I'm talking to people and I'm in that mindset of networking and creating connections and building friendships, this is what I think about. Maintain your focus. Focus on what the person is saying, not what you want to say next. Don't interrupt. This is a great tip because I use this often. If you are one of those people that jumps in places where there's a tenth of a second break, you're saying, oh, there's an opening. And you go in and you share your comment. What I'll sometimes do is I will literally bite the end of my tongue. And I know some of you are saying, well, that's weird, but it's true. I will literally go, Because when I'm doing that, it reminds me to shut up, listen, and don't interrupt. Just a little tip, try it out if it helps for you. And the last thing is don't change subjects. There are many times somebody will say, I'm going to go back to my Hawaii example where somebody says, are you planning any travel this year? Oh yeah, I'm thinking about going to Hawaii. It might be very easy for you to go, oh my gosh, I was in Hawaii once. Here's my story. Well, what you've done is you are no longer listening. You are now talking. And if you want to be able to create great likability, it's really simple. Talk less, listen more, ask more questions. It'll develop greater likability, greater commonality, because you're going to learn so much about that individual. So remember, in this discovery phase, when you're meeting people, Get to know who they are. Ask questions, ask more questions, maintain focus, listen to what they're saying. All right, we all good on that one? Everybody good? Fabulous. We're moving on. Next, building value. For those of you that are saying, when do I finally get to whip out my resume and show people how great I am? This is it. Building value is when it's your time to talk about you. Now, a lot of you are going, oh, this is easy. I just have to kind of, throw up all the stuff that I want to tell them and email them my resume, and that's all I have to do. Well, if you never want to get hired, that's probably a good thing to do. If you want to kind of, push people away, decrease that level of likability and commonality, continue to do that. Here's what I'm going to recommend. What you want to do is you want to share with people your current reality, as in many of you are, well, I'm assuming all of you are in some level of career transition. You have no idea how many people have trouble telling people or saying the words, I am in transition. I get it, because if it hasn't happened to you in a long time, there's a sense of, for sake of a better word, shame or embarrassment. Folks, with what's going on in this world right now, there is no shame if you have been laid off, if you have been let go. My 9 to 5, my full-time role, I run a sales training team for MindBody. MindBody does software for gym, spas, and salons. So you can imagine how COVID impacted our business. I started in November of 19. In the beginning of April 2020, they laid off 700 people from our company. I was very lucky that I made the cut. And there's not a week that goes by that I don't show tremendous gratitude that I am gainfully employed through this. But for those of you that aren't, you need to tell as many people as possible you're in transition. Do you have any idea how many people are on this call that haven't told their closest inner circle that they're currently in transition because they're embarrassed or one thing or another? Those are the people that are going to network most for you. These are the people that are going to try and help you the most. So find a way to say that you're in transition. I'm currently in career transition. I'm looking for my next employment adventure. Because most people say, oh, I'm looking for a job. No, it's really not the kind of statement that you want to make, because every time I say this, I don't like it, but it's kind of how it works. It throws out an air of desperation. And I don't know if that's what you're looking for. If you say, I'm in career transition, I am looking for my next adventure, it kind of shows that you're a little bit more in control, a little more, you have to show a little more strength in what you're trying to do. So that's your current reality. Next, elevator speech. People are going to ask you the question, what are you looking for? If you don't have a good answer to that question, please, please, please don't network. Because if you can't answer the one question people are going to ask you when you go to a function, when they find out you are in career transition, what good is it? Why are you wasting their time? Now, if you're going just to meet people, God bless you. I love that. I'm a people person. I love meeting people like this. And I'll go and I'll talk about movies. And I can always meet a bunch of people just by bringing up the topics of movies. Let's see. Hold on. I always have to throw one bit of movie stuff out. What have I just watched recently? Oh, very quickly. Any of you that like all the superhero stuff, I'm not really knowledgeable on the DC universe. And, that's Superman and Batman and all of those guys. Well, I did have the opportunity to watch the extended version of Justice League. Yeah, it's 4 hours. I get it. Yes, it's 4 hours. But I will tell you, for even someone who's not a big DC guy, it's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Break it up into segments. I watch movies when I'm on my treadmill. So I watched it on 4 times that I was on a treadmill. It's brilliant. So there's my little movie thing. So, but people are going to ask you when you're talking to them, what are you looking for? You have to have an answer. You got to give them something. And if you give them an answer such as, oh yeah, Dave, I'm looking for something in management, that doesn't help me. How do I say this nicely? I'm willing to help anybody find a job if I can. It's something I have been committed to for 25 plus years. But folks, don't make me have to work really hard to do it. Don't make me have to draw out of you what you're looking for. Don't say to somebody, I'm looking for something in management, or worse, I'm looking for something in IT. IT is like, I mean, trying to find something in IT is trying to find a needle in a pile, a needle in a pile of needles. There are a million different things you can do in IT. That's not what I want to hear. So when someone says to you, what are you looking for? Give me something that I can do something with, such as, I'd like to potentially get into banking. Maybe something like, name a company you'd like to go work for. For instance, if you wanted to get into banking and say, what are you looking for? Well, I think I want to get into, I'd like to get back into banking. And I'm really, I'm looking for something like, a job like it maybe, Chase or maybe Bank of America. I might not know anybody at those two places, but if I know anybody in banking, I now have an idea of who I could potentially refer you to. Here's the other thing. There are probably very specific people you are trying to connect with, like who's that one person who could actually hire you. Stop looking for them when you're networking, because the chances that you're going to meet that one person who is that one person who could hire you is probably zero. You're going to have to kind of go through this step at a time, 6 degrees of separation. You've heard it. So you're going to have to talk to someone, and they're going to turn you on to someone, and they're going to introduce you to someone, and they're going to talk you to someone, and you're going to finally be able to find that person. So understand, you have to tell people what you're looking for, because if you can't tell me, I can't help you. Give you a great example. Many years ago, there is a career transition group called, it'll come to me, in McLean, Virginia. I have friends who live there, so I would go there about once a year, and I would speak to their group about once a year. And they'll get a couple of hundred people. This was many years ago. And I asked them, I said, how many of you in here, if I came up to you and asked you, where would you like to go work? What if you could tell me, 3 companies you'd like to go work for, how many of you could tell me those 3 companies? 25% of the hands went up. Now, at the time, I was in a church, so I had to be very careful of any of the colorful words I traditionally would use, not in this session, but in normal sessions. But I basically said to him, how in hell am I going to help you if you don't know where you want to go work yourself? I cannot stress this enough. If there are people in this room, if there's attendees right now that cannot identify 3 companies you want to go work for today, do that as soon as we're done. That in itself will pay more dividends than anything else. So when somebody finally says to you, so Bob, what are you looking for? I understand you're a career transition. Wow, I bet that's challenging. How can I help? What are you looking for? Tell them, oh, these are the 3 kinds of companies I'd like to go work for. And they might not know anybody. But I guarantee you they're going to be able to help you a lot more than just going, oh, I'm looking for something in management. Oh, maybe something in sales. There's only about 74,000 of those jobs out there. So building value, current reality, what are you going through? Elevator speech, what are you looking for? And the last thing is, don't ramble. How many times have you asked somebody, what's going on? And for 15 minutes, they tell you everything they've done since middle school till the end of their last job. Okay, don't do that. Don't hand me a resume. No offense, I'll tell you right now, I work for a company full-time. I own a very small side business. I'm not going to hire you. And even if you, see, this is my favorite part. If you give me your resume, you're going to think, I'm going to read this whole resume and think, Who do I know that's going to match this resume? No offense, I'm not. I work 50 hours a week in my 9 to 5, and I probably work 20 hours a week in my side business. And I like to golf, and I got a nice wife, and I like to chill a little bit. Don't send me your resume. Just identify, what are you looking for? We're going to get to one more thing beyond that. Okay, yeah. Oh, there you go. I love that, Anna. Tell me about yourself. Well, I was born at a young age. See, here's what I want to just point one thing out about likability and commonality. I don't know if Anna and I have ever met. I'm familiar with the Entrepreneur Source, but I don't know if we've ever met. But just the fact that she is writing stuff down here that is humorous and making me chuckle, I would have the interest to talk to her. If you're one of those people that, you look at life kind of humorously, or you have a sense of humor, use that. Humor is the great magnet. It's kind of challenging in the world right now, the whole COVID thing. And, last year it was all the political stuff. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Humor is the great equalizer. Okay, use humor every way you can. All right, that's building value. Moving on. Last one. Time to ask for the sale, because at some point you are going, holy cow, I think, Sheila, you got to let Roy Kessel in. Oh my gosh, Roy Kessel, friend of mine from Chicago. Nice to see you, Roy. Can't really talk to you right now because I currently have about 16 minutes left before I got to finish. Oh, wait. Oh, obviously I'm done now.
No, I was just trying to tell you, give him a minute to get in and get his audio connected. He probably couldn't hear you quite yet.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So last part. So let's review. We build rapport, so getting people to know you, likability, commonality. We've done some discovery. So you're talking to somebody and getting to know who they are. You've built value. You've had the opportunity to tell them who you are, what you're looking for. Now, at some point, you have to ask for the sale. Now, some of you are going, well, what does that mean? Because I'm not, what am I selling? You're selling yourself. You're selling the ask. So you have to ask yourself, what do you want from them? So I'm going to make this really easy for you. I'm going to give you what Sheila has heard me say more times than you can imagine. I'm going to give you the 4 most important words in the world of networking, which is, who do you know? Because that's the key. You are not going to probably, with the exception of our the businesses that are here, that have openings and things like that, you're not going to meet a lot of people that are going to say, I like you, you're hired. So you're going to have to ask people, who do you know? So I'm going to go back to my banking example. So say you want to get into banking, identify a couple of places that you'd like to work, but make it even easier. There's probably certain roles or certain people, there's, connections that you'd like to make with people. Ask, who do you know in this world? The more specific, the better, because there's a very good chance you're going to ask me something and I'm going to go, sorry, I don't know anybody. And that's just the game. That's sales. You're going to get a lot of no's, you're going to get a lot of yeses. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't ask me, who do you know that does this? If you never ask me, you're never going to know. I cannot stress this to you enough. Every time you talk to somebody in a networking world, once you identify, that, you're trying to get into Chase or Bank of America, I'm going to stick with that example. Every conversation, blah, 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 what do you do? Blah, 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 here you go. I love all of it, blah, blah, blah. And at the very end, you go, hey, before I let you go, one of the things I'm looking for is I'm looking for anyone that might have a good contact or connection at Chase or Bank of America. Who do you know? Now, it's possible they might go, well, I know a teller at Chase. And in your mind, you're going, that teller can't hire me. No, but that teller can turn you on to a manager, who could turn you on to a senior manager, who could turn you on to a director, to a vice president, and then get into the people that will do the actual hiring. Understand, this is not a one step. It's not 1 degree of separation. It's 6 degrees of separation. And a lot of times it'll be less than that. It's like, I just think if you understand what you're looking for and who, tell people about that, that's going to help you. So when you're asking for the sale, it's when you're asking them for something. Would you be willing to, have a 15-minute informational meeting? Hey, I'd love to chat with you further. Can we set up 15 minutes? I got to share a story. I am currently in charge of developing a culture program for the team that I'm in, the revenue operations team. There's about 60 people on the team. And we're trying to do different things. We're doing some educational stuff, and we're doing some fun stuff, and we're doing some EDI stuff, equity, diversity, and inclusion stuff. And one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to do a trivia contest on mind-body trivia. Like, what's some of the history? So it just so happens that the founder of this company, who is now the chairman of the board, I figured in my silly brain that he would be the person I should talk to. Well, I'm going to reach out to this guy. Lo and behold, guess who I spent 30 minutes with getting the greatest trivia you could imagine. I had both my manager and her manager say, I'm not sure that was a good idea, but I'm glad it worked. If you don't ask, you don't get. You are all looking for jobs. You are all trying to find your next employment adventure. If you don't ask for some help, it's going to take you 2 to 3 times as long. You do not have to do this yourself. If you take the time to connect with some of the people through Career Connectors, oh my gosh, you have no idea the resource you have here with Career Connectors. There are more people here that will do so much and bend over backwards to help you find, your next role. Work with them, but make sure as you're talking to them, they know what you're looking for. Ask for what you want. If there's a particular company you want to go for, every single person you talk to, ask, do you know anybody at this company? That's what we're striving for. For instance, if you're sitting here listening to me going, wow, I'd really like to work at MindBody. I do Pilates and, yoga and spinning and all of that. Yeah, that's probably a really bad interpretation of all of that, but just bear with me. But say, for instance, you really want to come to work at MindBody. Well, first thing I would suggest is go online and look, see what roles are available. But you can also reach out to me. As I said, I'm not going to hire you, but I will guarantee you I can find you somebody that you need to talk to that could potentially lead you to the person that will potentially interview you. If you don't ask, you don't get. If you want to find a job faster, ask everybody imaginable for what you're looking for. So that's asking for the sale. Who do you know? Last thing is follow up with people. Now you'll see the question mark. Because a lot of times people go, oh, should I follow up? Should I talk to people? Things like that. My recommendation is follow up with everybody. Because if you talk to somebody and you go, wow, this has really been great, I'd love to continue this conversation, and you don't follow up, it doesn't make you look very good. So follow up with all these folks. And always, this is something that is kind of like the core of my life. Be grateful, be gracious, and be appreciative. Anything anybody does to help you, say thank you. And I know you're sitting there going, Dave, I'm not an 8-year-old. Yeah, but you'd be really surprised how many people I talk to that do not act very grateful, gracious, or appreciative when they should be. Being in career transition is not fun, especially now, because it's Looney Tunes. It's getting better. The vaccines are coming out, and, there's some changes going on, and it is definitely getting better, but it is still relatively Looney Tunes out there. You have to do everything in your power to continue to work through this. You don't have, I'm assuming most of you do not have the luxury of saying, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I know I have to look for a job, but I'm going to wait till this whole COVID thing goes away. Yeah, I hope you have a lot of money put away. My recommendation is to start networking. Start meeting more people, talking to more people, build rapport, create some friendships, create some relationships. You never know who the cool people you're going to meet. Talk about stuff that's not all work related. You know, for me, movies, travel, golf. I love that stuff. You know, if you're a movie buff, you ever want to talk about movies, I'm your guy. Just send me an email. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, whatever you want. Okay, so build rapport with these people, talk to these people, create connections, likability, commonality, do discovery, be interested, not just interesting. Ask lots of questions, let people know, you know, that you're interested in what they have to say, learn about people. Next, build value. Let people know who you are. Okay, I want to see what this says. Hold on. Sherry, I love you. You know, it's like one of the things I love about Zoom, professional on the top, casual on the bottom. I love that. I love that. Next, build value. Let people know what you're looking for. And if you don't know what that is, figure it out right now, today. Identify companies you want to go work for. It doesn't have to be anything specific. You don't have to know the exact role, but at least give me an idea of what you're looking to do. Okay, because that'll help me help you. And then last thing, ask for the sale. Who do you know? Can you make this connection? Can you and I talk a little bit further? Because the crazy part about it is most people are willing to help you. But for some reason, those that are most willing to help you are the ones that have the hardest time asking for help. Folks, all of you are in a period of your life that this might not be the best time for you to be helping others because you're in transition, you got a lot of stuff going on. This is when you need to start reaching out and asking for help yourself. Because the crazy part about it is there are a lot of amazing people out there that will go out of their way to help you land your next role. Start networking today. Know what you want, ask them to help. And my favorite line that I end every presentation with, okay, is use these tools because my hope is that I never see any of you ever again. That's it for me. Thank you.
I love it, Dave. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think you gave a lot of really good information. I'm sure people took a lot of good notes. I'm going to bring you back to this space just for a minute because we get a lot of questions. And even myself, I wondered in the last year, right, when we all had to stay at home and now we're kind of coming out, but it's in increments. In this current environment, how do you make new connections? Like, can you give some examples of what it looks like to actually establish a connection virtually? Like, obviously here we can chat, but like outside of an event like this, what can people do to reach out and make some new connections right now?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One of the things you might want to try and do is there are Zoom meetings that are not business-based. There are Zoom meetings for movie lovers. There are Zoom meetings for wine lovers. There are Zoom meetings for political people. There is all sorts of stuff out there where you can have the opportunity to, you know, really talk and connect to people. The Facebook groups. Thank you very much, Barb. It's perfect. You know, these are the kind of places that you can go. You know, like I had mentioned before, you know, this water you're looking at is my view from Rocky Point, Mexico. If I go into Facebook, there are 3 groups about Rocky Point. One's called Rocky Point Friends, Rocky Point Foodies, and I can't remember what the third one is. But I make great connections in there because we all have this desire to spend a lot of time down in this little sleepy Mexican village. You have to find the same kind of things. Go on Facebook, go talk to your friends, you know, look what they're doing. The other thing I might recommend, and you're going to have to do what's most comfortable for you. There are a lot of events. Beautiful, Melissa, thank you very much. Volunteer opportunities. People are starting to get out of their houses again. You know, what I understand if that freaks you out and it's not a thing for you, that's okay. If it doesn't freak you out, obviously, regardless of what's going on, I still tell people wear a mask. Let's just be safe about all of this. But there is the opportunity for you to be able to get out and meet people and do some stuff and things like that. This might be one of those times where it might be time to get out of your house, you know, a day a week, 2 days a week. You know, I work from home every day. So, and, you know, fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, I'm on Zoom about 6 hours a day. And I don't really mind it because you know me well enough. I love, you know, being able to see people's faces. It's important that you try to create some connections. If you're someone who goes to the gym and you get to go back to your gym, I'd start doing that. I would look at some networking groups because a lot of them are virtual. Like, for instance, I know the guy who runs, Barb Meetup's a great one. I do a lot of business with BNI, Business Network International. And a lot of you are saying to yourselves, well, wait a minute, how can I go there? I don't have a business. That's okay. Because you can go to some of these and there's 30, 40 people there, and you'll have the opportunity to spend 30 seconds and say, hey, I mean, now if you do this, be prepared. I'm in career transition. I'm trying to find, you know, any contacts for somebody at Chase or Bank of America or wherever you want. You'll be astonished at the amount of people you'll meet. Networking Phoenix website, bar none, the best one in town. Run by Gelly. She's just Gelly, just that name. She has a last name, but nobody can pronounce it. So that's why she's just Gelly.
Yep.
But my recommendation is,
and not just show up to these events, right? Like, you have to engage and actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The
Yes.
second step, I think, is important. You can't just show up. You've got to have the conversations and get to know people. It feels a little different, but it's still possible right now. I guess that's kind of what I wanted to say.
Right. KM wrote on here, ask not, have not. If you're that person that stands in a corner and you become a wallflower, you have let all the success or failure of that event fall into the hands of everybody else. You're going to have to go up and introduce yourself to some of these people. You know, and I understand with the whole mask thing, it's hard because you can't see any smiles, you can't see any faces. I get it, but everybody's in the same boat. So if you're sitting there going, ooh, that mask thing's hard for me. Well, guess what? It's hard for me too, but it's where we are. You know, I've gotten to a point in my life where I don't complain about things I can't change. And sometimes you just got to accept what's going on. And right now, COVID is the way it is. And if it's a mask thing, deal with it, but work through it. Because here's my point. If you do the stuff that I'm talking about, you're going to find a job faster. All of you will find a job. This will help you. All of the things I've shared with you today will help you find a job faster.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I love being here.
Awesome. All right. We are going to go ahead and move on, but keep the conversation going in the chat. I know you have more ideas to share, so let's hear them. Okay. Next up, we have Megan Kennedy with Community Medical Services. Megan is a Phoenician and a graduate of ASU, where she majored in international relations. She's always had a passion for recruiting and networking, worked for some very large recruitment firms, currently working for Community Medical Services Accredited Rehabilitation Center, helping individuals recover from opioid use disorder. During the pandemic, Megan has hired over 300 people and is looking to continue to hire more individuals as they're opening 10 more clinics this year. In addition to clinical positions, she also staffs for their corporate center, which is located in North Scottsdale. And Megan, I'm going to welcome you and go ahead and give you the mouse. Megan, can you go ahead and yeah, there you go. Welcome.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Sheila. I don't know if I'm more nervous to present or now that you gave me the power of controlling the screen. I apologize in advance if any Teams messages come up. I'm pretty sure I exited out of everything.
Now they're viewing my screen. You're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for taking care of us.
Yeah.
Perfect. So my name is Megan, and I'm going to be a recruiter here at Community Medical Services.
We were founded in the 1980s, and it's really in the last couple of years that we've almost doubled and tripled in size. So what we do specifically is we open outpatient clinics for individuals that are suffering from substance use disorders. We do specialize in helping individuals that are suffering from opioid use disorder, just because that is the most fatal when individuals do not receive treatment for it. Our hours can be a little bit different. You know, at corporate, we do work Monday through Friday from 5:30 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon. So I do want to lead with that in case, you know, you'll be like Dave and need your Mountain Dew to work here. But we also have a variety of schedules as well at our clinics, just because we want to be accessible to help individuals with their recovery journey. So some of the clinics we operate are also open 24/7. In terms of locations, we have over 23 locations in Arizona. So I'm confident we'll have a location that is close to you. And as Sheila mentioned, our corporate center is going to be located in North Scottsdale. So a little bit more about what we do. So we do use medication and partner it with one-on-one therapy, group therapy, and community outreach for individuals that are going to be in different phases of recovery. We have seen so much growth in the last year. You know, during the pandemic, we were lucky enough to open 12 more clinics, and this year we're opening 10 more as well. So we are definitely a growing company that believes with promoting from within. We definitely promote so many people. I know because I sit in HR and I process it, as well as doing the additional external hires. So we are definitely a very growing and stable company. With our benefits, you know, it is going to be a competitive salary. We do have paid sick, vacation, and personal time. I love that we give our employees the option of having personal time in addition to vacation. We do have a 401k match, short and long-term disability, health savings account. We are actually still paying all of our employees a COVID shift differential as well. You know, we are in the behavioral health, so we are an essential business. You know, helping individuals get their lives back on track is essential. So although we still have, you know, stayed open, and I have another slide kind of going over the COVID precautions that we've been doing, you know, I think it's great that we were able to give all of our employees a $1,000 bonus last year. And in addition to that, we're still paying all of our support staff and nurses a COVID shift differential, you know, a year later. It's something that we've been doing since March 2020. So that was something that was really great to see, because no one knows how that's going to go. And I will say that I think a lot of times individuals think, because we deal with such a serious matter, you know, that our company culture is really serious as well. But our culture really is fun and engaging and lively. You know, even what we're doing is so serious, we still have a great time at work. You know, what we do is we just take our services seriously, but not ourselves. So I think that's a misconception that some individuals have about the behavioral health industry. Another misconception is I think individuals always think we're looking for people that have a background in healthcare or, you know, behavioral health. And that's not true. You know, a lot of businesses like restaurants, hospitality, banking, they translate really well to our industry as well. You know, if someone does have a very strong focus on customer service, we can build up that leadership pool, or we can teach you what we need to know. We have a lot of great training programs. So just because you don't have healthcare or behavioral health does not mean that your experience would not be a good fit. Lots of other industries that come here end up finding out that they love it. So that's something I definitely want to encourage individuals. If you're like, I don't know if that'd be the right industry for me, is to think about it and let's have a conversation about it in the breakout room. So we have a ton of positions that are open right now. We're going to be opening 10 more clinics this year, and I need to fill the opportunities that I have open before we can open the new clinics. So we definitely have a lot that we're filling, you know, all over Glendale, Phoenix, Mesa, Tempe, Tucson. And in addition to doing the positions inside the clinics, I also handle our corporate recruiting as well. So I'm excited to speak about more about this in the breakout rooms. You know, we have everything from billing to IT to entry-level management positions, such as the operations administrator. So we definitely have a variety of roles that are both clinical and non-clinical. Our interview to hire process always starts. I'm having trouble hearing. Our interview to hire process always starts with an application. From there, it would be a phone interview with me. I handle all of the recruitment efforts for Arizona, so you would be speaking directly with me, which is one of the reasons I wanted to include my contact information below. From there, it will be a virtual interview with the clinic manager or the hiring manager at corporate. So this is something that still can be an entirely virtual process. We always ask if individuals are comfortable, you know, coming in with their mask, if they would like to set up a tour just to see their work environment. But this process can be done completely virtual. From there, we will extend an offer or offer feedback on why this wasn't going to be a match today. For those individuals that do move forward with offer, we will get onboarding started, and then we will line up employees to a new hire date. We do have some new hire dates that are coming right up on April 19th and May 3rd. We have about a new hire orientation, which is something where we have corporate training specialists lead about every 2 to 3 weeks. So it usually works for most individuals. And then, of course, the elephant in the room, I do want to talk about what we were doing for COVID-19 precautions. We already touched upon pay, but we really did have to change a few things in terms of how we operated on a daily basis. So I love sharing this photo because you can kind of see how the chairs are distance apart, how we've installed that clear plexiglass that's protecting the individuals at the front desk. We've really had to limit the amount of individuals we can see at one time. So we do have a particular role called a client navigator, and they're responsible for checking individuals' temperatures when they're walking in, making sure that they're wearing that mask, making sure that there's no more than 10 more external people in the clinic at any given time, which is really not a lot when you can be with the nurse, you can be with the medical provider, you can be with the case manager and with the counselor, and always sanitizing frequently touched surfaces with hourly logs. So it is something that we've taken very seriously. And I will say that if anything, we have an approach that's national. Yes, we have so many clinics that are going to be in Arizona, but we also have clinics that are in Michigan and Alaska. So we have to be very mindful of what the national standard is. So if anything, we might be a little more strict than a company that's just Arizona centric. And then finally, how to apply for jobs. So if this is something where you would like to kind of peruse our website, I think our website's really great, very informative about what we specifically do. It is just going to be our company name, communitymedicalservices.org. If you scroll down, go past all the news articles to the bottom of the page, you'll be able to see career opportunities. Next to that, you'll kind of see, our LinkedIn, our Facebook, and our Twitter. I would encourage you to follow that as well. Me and another recruiter have a really fun series called Why Work Here Wednesdays, where we like to highlight a lot of things about our culture that we think is just exciting that maybe individuals wouldn't know off the bat from looking at a company website. And then of course, my email is there as well. We are continuing to grow. So just because we don't have that opportunity today doesn't mean we won't have it in July when we're opening more clinics. So I really am a great contact just to say, hey, Megan, I live in Stafford, or hey, Megan, I'm looking for a management opportunity in Phoenix. What's on the horizon for you guys? I will be so excited to have a pipeline. I will engage with you, I promise. And then important links, of course, this is something that I'll make sure to put in the chat box as well. I do want to provide a link of all the career opportunities that we have. They can be filtered by title or location. So, whatever is important to you. Our company website, of course, and then my LinkedIn, which is already in the chat. I do like to share what I call kind of our hot jobs, the jobs where I'm looking to hire, that day. So I like to be interactive on there, and of course, share resources like this event that may help job seekers. And that's what I really have prepared for you guys. So I'm excited to participate in the breakout rooms. And if there's any questions, I'll be on the lookout in the chat box.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. And I think we have Jessica back now.
Hello, Sheila. Yes, thank you so much. Thanks for filling in this morning. Megan, thank you for being here. I know my husband works at CMS. He's one of your counselors. And so we've heard a lot about the company and what you guys do for our community. So thank you so much for being here and sharing that today.
Yeah, of course. And thanks for that plug, Jessica.
Yeah. And then I'm not sure if Dave is still on the line, but I just wanted to say, Dave, I did not hear your talk today, but I've heard it, heard various versions of Dave's networking talk, and he's phenomenal. So I hope you guys got some really good stuff out of him today. All right. Matthew Chimbos, I'm so honored that you are here with us today. Matthew's a good friend, him and his family, and he just does great things in our community. But today he is here as the Managing Director of Enterprise Data and Common Services for Hawaiian Airlines, and he's been with them since June of 2019. Before he was there, he spent over 25 years as an IT consultant, and he serves on the Grand Canyon University Technology Advisor Board, and he also volunteered for us for quite a long time at our live events as a photographer. So hopefully we'll have those live events back soon. He has lived in Arizona for the past 17 years with his wife and 3 kids, and they enjoy traveling, riding ATVs, and getting out in their motorhome going across the country. So welcome, Matthew. So glad to have you here today.
Hey, thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Aloha. That is a Hawaiian cultural item as well as wearing an aloha shirt. So in our corporate office in Oahu, I'd say 80 plus or 90% of the people actually will be wearing an aloha shirt. And when I joined the company, I went out and I don't know, I have about 15 of them now in my closet, and I will wear them or was wearing them pretty much daily when I went to the office just to help share the culture. Culture is a big important part of Hawaiian Airlines, and we'll go through a little bit of the history as we go through this. So look forward to connecting with everybody. So really quick, does anybody know the name of the crater that's pictured here? This is on Oahu. Anybody? Let's see if we can get an answer while we progress through. It's quite famous one. Oh, you should be able to spell it if you know it, Sheila. All right, so that's Diamond Head Crater. So you can hike all the way up to the very top of this peak and look out across Waikiki Beach. It's probably the most famous beach. I think it's also the least nice beach on the island. I would highly recommend going to the other side. So a little bit about our company. As you can imagine, COVID significantly impacted the airline. Most folks have heard that most airlines weren't flying through most of the year, and that was the case for us as well. We did look to switch to see how we could do other things like more cargo. We did more charter flights, bringing military folks back and forth. Financially, we were in an extremely strong position going into COVID. So we've been able to kind of weather the storm. We've worked on reducing our costs. We do currently have 61 planes. We fly to 32 different destinations, and I'll show you a map here. This is Peter, our CEO and president, standing in one of our maintenance facilities. I got a tour of this hangar when I was over there about a year ago. It's really amazing. People don't realize, like, oh, why does it cost so much to fly? Well, some of our planes need new tires and brakes every 15 days back when we were flying a lot. So that kind of adds up a lot of cost in operating and maintaining a plane. So there's one unique thing about Hawaiian Airlines, and when you look at where we fly, and we are these purple lines here that pretty much center around the islands, and then we do have all our partners that we connect with, is every flight for Hawaiian Airlines begins or ends on an island, right? So we are not Delta, we are not Southwest, we don't have a hub and spoke model. So when you get on the plane, you're either going to Hawaii or you're leaving Hawaii, which is kind of makes us a little bit unique in that sense. So you can see that we have quite a bit of business on the West Coast. Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Korea are very large. We also hold the distinction of having the longest domestic flight in the country. So we will fly from Boston all the way to Oahu nonstop. That's about a 12-hour flight, depending on the trade winds and time of year. We also hold the distinction to have the second longest domestic flight, which is from JFK all the way to Oahu. And then actually just about a month ago, we announced and just launched our Orlando to Oahu flight, which puts us, I think, in the third or fourth longest domestic flight as well. Good news is we have launched some new routes from Orlando, Austin, and a few Ontario, California. So we are looking to expand as we come out of COVID, as we see a lot of demand for folks wanting to now vacation after having spent 12 to 13 or 14 or how much longer this last months in their home. Little history about Hawaiian Airlines. We are now 92 years old. We have been in business, started out actually as an interline shipping company. So we moved people between the islands on boats. In 1929, we began flying between the islands on the Balanca. We've since repurchased that plane and actually offer employees and friends of theirs flights on this plane. It's a 4-seater. I heard it makes you very sick. I've not been up in it yet, but plan to eventually get that. So through our history, we've expanded, we've changed our logo a few times, but I believe we are the second oldest airline in the world at 92 years old. The amazing thing is, I think as little kids, and we see it a lot, they light up when they get on a plane, right? And so aircraft always fascinates people. There's a lot of work to buy a plane, maintain a plane, service a plane, and get guests on and off a plane. These are some of the planes that we have. The one, if you were flying direct from Phoenix to Oahu, and now actually seasonally, we will fly direct from Phoenix to Maui. If you go to Oahu, you'll be on the A330, so it's got 2 rows. Our first class seats are lie down in that plane, which are really pretty cool. If you go to Maui, you'll be on the Neo. It's a slightly more fuel efficient plane. And then we're real excited that we're going to be getting 10 new Boeing 787 Dreamliners. And so these will be some of our longer haul flights as well. So, but no one planned on getting an aviation lesson today when they came to Career Connectors. So I'll actually get to the jobs here shortly. So, places that we do work, right? So we got pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, bags, ramps agents. We got managers. We got people that work in our system center. This is this picture here in the middle is actually in our office. It's on the 3rd floor. I walk by it every time I'm over there. And a lot of positions in the guest services. And you're like, great, this helps me out because I live in Phoenix. So when do we get to that part? 2 years ago, as part of our strategy to really improve our IT footprint, as you can imagine, living on an island, the IT pool dries up pretty quick, right? You only have so many people to recruit from. And so in order to expand our IT footprint and really start leveraging more modern technologies, we need to expand our talent pool. So we opened up our technology center in Tempe. We are right on Rio Salado and Mill Ave. We're right below Microsoft in the KPMG LifeLock building is the one most people know it by. Hopefully soon it'll be, people know it as the Hawaiian Airlines building. We currently have almost 80 people here in Phoenix doing predominantly all IT type work. And as Dave mentioned, IT is an extremely broad subject. Our headquarters is at pretty much the airport in Oahu. It's the airport, the rental cars, and then our office. And so it's kind of neat. And we have other facilities all around the different islands. But we're really excited about our technology center in Phoenix. It is great office space. We are trying to figure out what does it look like post-COVID as far as the number of people returning to the office, how frequently you'll be there. We will be supporting still working remotely even once we do open, but we will have times in which we'll ask folks to come into the office for team meetings or when our CIO is in town and we have a town hall or we have guest speakers come in, which we do regularly. We do have really great benefits. You start off with 15 days. That recently changed. We have great matching 401k, competitive salaries. It's been the best health insurance I've had since I've been in Arizona for 17 years. So that's been very helpful. We do have profit sharing. And the big one for us that I can guarantee no other company on the call will offer are flight benefits. So me and my family and my parents get to fly for free on any Hawaiian Airlines flight. So we can quickly get online, look to say, hey, there's 5 seats available, let's go. And we can just show up at the airport and get on the flight. We can also fly standby on other carriers. That gets a little bit more competitive. If you did not know, most people in the airline industry has been in it for a very long period of time. So when you look at flight attendants flying standby that have been there for 45 years versus you at 2 years, they get priority in the standby list. So it does get a little bit more competitive across the airlines when you're traveling with someone else. We also do get some past travel that we can give out to our friends. It's a little bit tricky because they're even lower in priority on standby, so that gets a little bit more tricky, but I can definitely, I've helped out a few folks. So that is a big benefit. I can actually get from here to Boston on Hawaiian Airlines. I just need to go to Hawaii first and then take that flight over. So makes it a little bit longer, but I can definitely fly to Boston to see my family there for free. So positions available. You can go to hawaiianairlines.com/careers. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat. These are just some of the positions we have open here in Phoenix. I only posted the Phoenix positions here on this list, but we have, we've broken up IT around like airline operations and architecture and engineering. I have the common services and enterprise data ones. We have corporate functions. So maybe your background's in finance and you have a little bit of technology. We do hire analysts as well. So they're not necessarily programmers, but have maybe a background in finance. Or loyalty. Maybe you're in marketing and sales and you know, you can transition your skills from what you've done into something that might support some of these other ones. Network and revenue management. Quick funny story, in networking, right? I use LinkedIn a lot for networking. One of my friends from the past said, hey, I just applied for your network engineering, network revenue management position. It was a plan manager for the network planning. And he was a Cisco IT person. And I was like, yeah, in airline terms, that network planning is actually how we determine where we open up a new route or send an airplane, not actually routing and switching of the bits and bytes going through our network. And so, but yeah, we have revenue analytics, and obviously we have our web, mobile, and kiosk, right? So we have a significant investment from our board of directors around IT. Although we weren't flying planes, we actually started a lot of new IT projects, right? Because when you start looking at post-COVID world, right? People don't want to stand in line to go speak to an agent to check in anymore, right? And so we've had to add some capabilities to our mobile app, to our website, and we've made a lot of changes around our kiosks, right? So people want to walk up, space them apart, right? But now if I have to put in my passport information, we've now added the ability to scan your passport, OCR the images, and save you from sitting and having to type all this information down. So one, we can speed people up, getting them through the line. We can reduce the number of times people touch the kiosk. And so these are all different type of projects. So although, you know, we're not hiring flight attendants or pilots right now, as we still have quite a few planes parked, we are making a significant investment in the IT positions, and we hope to hire 50 plus IT folks by July. So I think we hired 13 last month, but we continue to add to that list. And as the market is looking much better, so for those worrying about, hey, how's, you know, our sales from North America, or mainland as we call it, over to Hawaii, from July on we're almost at like 80% sold out already. So there is a huge appetite for people to leave. If you also follow any of the other airlines, they're opening up quite a few more flights from current places to leisure destinations, right? So the Uniteds and the Americans that used to just fly, you know, New York to Denver, right? Now they want to go New York to Cabo, Denver to Cabo, or Florida. And so they're also adding a lot of routes to leisure destinations or vacation spots. I would say mahalo for your time. That's kind of thank you. Do definitely connect with me on LinkedIn if you've not done so already. I use that as a tool. As I put in the chat, I'm not one to sit and read every resume I get, but if someone says, hey, I've researched your company, I found this position, I think I'd be a good fit, I'll be more than happy to make sure I get you in touch with the right recruiter and the right hiring manager, if it's not me or someone on my team, to help facilitate that process. So thank you for your time, and look forward to catching up with everybody in the chat or in the breakout rooms.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matthew. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move over to Caleb below with Logicalis. He is a senior talent acquisition specialist, and he has over 5 years of recruitment experience. He's also a board member of their military employee resource group, though he himself is not a veteran, but he's also a member of the Diversity and Inclusion Steering Committee as well. And then in his personal life, he enjoys his cat Raven, video games, movies, rock music, and going for walks. Caleb, thank you for being here today.
Jessica, everybody, thank you for having me. I do appreciate it. This is my first Career Connectors real experience. I believe I've had a couple of short calls with Sheila here and there to get one or two of our job postings active, but it's great to be on the call. Really enjoying the presentations and learning about some other companies with a footprint in Phoenix. So as far as I'm concerned, I've been with the company over about 3.5 years now. Recently underwent a title promotion change to Senior Talent Acquisition Specialist from the role I was hired into as a talent acquisition specialist. a lot of the positions that I'm going to be talking about today, all of them really are full-time. So we do sometimes get some temp positions and things of that nature, but typically we're looking at full-time permanent roles. And I'll talk about a lot of the different opportunities that you can take a look at too. I'll probably share the career site in the chat at some point after I'm done presenting as well, but I also will include it in the links over here too. So really glad to be on the call today. I think I've got, am I supposed to advance these slides, Sheila, or are you advancing them? You have Sheila advancing.
I'm happy to do it either way. I can go ahead.
I'll do it. I think I figured it out. All right, there we go. So Logicalis, about us. We are a large international company. We're headquartered in the UK. We can be thought of as an IT managed services, managed solutions provider. And some of you might be saying, well, what is a managed services, managed solutions provider, MSP as we sometimes define it? Well, I'm glad you asked. We basically it means that we do everything from providing a level 1 IT service desk or help desk, if you will, to housing data in one of our 2 data centers we have one in Phoenix, Arizona, and we also have another data center out in Miamisburg, Ohio. We do cloud backups. We have a small cybersecurity that's usually just mostly really high level folks, department as well. We hire a lot of network systems administrators. We obviously also have all the basic functions of your typical large company, because we do have about 700 US employees, I think just over that currently. We're looking to probably expand that to easily 20 to 30 more people over the next few months full time. So really we offer also you'll periodically see some legal services opportunities. We do have a legal department, finance, accounting. I believe there's a finance role open too currently. We also do provide, obviously, a lot of sales opportunities. We are looking for anybody with any significant IT sales positions. And then there's some other more specialized positions here and there. A lot of technical roles, mostly in sales focus. Actually, you can go back to the other slide, Sheila. We are partnered with a lot of big IT providers. Cisco, we're one of their 6 global gold business partners. Hewlett-Packard Enterprises, IBM, NetApp, VMware, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services. We've really been taking off a lot with our Microsoft practice. There's actually some roles relative to that right now. I think there's even a remote role for a Microsoft licensing sales specialist, cloud solutions provider. And obviously we're a multi-billion-dollar company. And I mentioned headquartered in the UK and 25 other countries we do business. I think we have about 15 US office locations. However, most of us haven't set foot in any of them for about a year. I would anticipate probably the fall. We're tentatively looking at that as some of the positions, such as like the data center roles, have to be out of, the physical location, but we are practicing social distancing. We have very few people going into the offices or locations, maybe an office assistant and a couple of internal IT support people here and there that have to ship equipment and things of that nature. So we can go ahead on to the next slide. All right, so here's just a few of the opportunities that we have open out of the Tempe, Arizona office. There are some remote opportunities too. I do want to point out that on our website, you'll either navigate by location. There is a location for remote, and I've been telling candidates, you should be open to whatever the future holds. If that's going back into an office at some point, be ready to go back into an office. Kind of like what Dave said, you want to make yourself marketable. You don't want to make yourself seem inflexible. If you've always been working remote and the positions you typically work for are always remote and it's listed as remote, then great. But if it's not and it has an office, there's a good chance you'll probably end up back in an office at some point when it's safe and sound to do that. So I would give that as a tip to our job seekers or people in transition. Right now, we're hiring a lot on our service desk and I'd really love any Tempe, Phoenix local candidates. Like I said, you'd be remote initially. We'd ship the equipment, train remotely. But we've got a great office over there, a growing operation. So if there's anybody on the call looking to get into going, getting IT experience, that's a great role. Account executive, you won't see it posted on our website currently under Tempe, but really we're always looking for good salespeople. So just because it's not listed in that location, it is a big territory for us, the Southwest. So I would say if you're interested in sales and you're on this call and you have IT sales experience, send me a resume through LinkedIn or email it to me. I'll share it with my team members. They usually handle those positions. Or if I have something, we'll definitely review it. Senior project manager, ServiceNow. We'd love to have somebody who's got project management experience and work with the ServiceNow ticketing system. They're our main ticketing system. Principal architect data center. So I mentioned the 2 data centers out of Phoenix and Miamisburg. It'd be great to have somebody close to one of those data centers in Phoenix. I actually just hired a network administrator out of Phoenix in the data center not too long ago too. So if anybody's got that type of background, data center, I'd be happy to talk to them. Check out our website. Next link, next page. Check out our website too. I messed up. I forgot to edit this slide out. It should say put career connectors as a source. You're probably like, why the heck does it say Cisco Talent Bridge? Well, we are a pretty big Cisco shop company, but I actually meant to put career connectors in that. And I notified Sheila too late that I noticed that. So that's a presentation error. I'll own it. It's always better to own your mistakes. I think that people like, the candidness and honesty as opposed to somebody who hides behind it. So I'll just be upfront about that. But that is our career site. And I did add the career connector source. I'm hoping to get at least a few applicants from the call today and or LinkedIn connections. My profile is down there. Our LinkedIn profile is also right there. You can sign up for job alerts. So let's say you want to become a sales support representative. We hire those. We don't have an opening right now, to my knowledge. But if we do in the future, you'll get an email within 24 hours of that being posted for a sales support rep. And then you can be one of the top people. That's another tip I'll give you. You're one of the first. You're one of the first to get looked at. You're probably one of the first to get interviewed. So I really enjoyed presenting today. Anybody's welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're interested in a role, the best approach is to apply. I'm not always the one managing every single position. And if I'm not the right person, will get it. And I'll ask you for an app anyways. If you say, hey, I'm interested in this role, you have a question about it, ultimately, I'm going to ask you for an app. So I would just put in the app and we'll go from there. But Jessica, Sheila, everybody at Career Connectors, everybody on the call today, really appreciate your time. I'll hang out for the breakout sessions and I'll turn it over to our next presenter.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caleb. Appreciate you being here today.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to welcome Melissa Whitlatch. She is a senior recruiter for Freedom Financial Network. And throughout her career with them, she has recruited for various roles in the organization, from the frontline call center to division leaders. And she is currently focused on growing their new mortgage division, Lendage. And as an employee with Freedom for the last 13 years, she has been blessed to see the Phoenix operations grow from 50 employees to over 2,200. When not recruiting, Melissa is usually found with a good book in hand and spending time in the sunshine with her family. Wow, 13 years, Melissa, at Freedom Financial Network. That is a long time for this organization, as they're fairly still a new company. Welcome to our call today.
Yeah, I spent all of my 30s there, so it flies by so quickly. Yeah, so I work for Freedom. Let me drive here, and have been blessed to see a lot of growth. I can tell you that when I first walked into the office, it was 2007, a different location than the building that you might see in my backdrop here. The signage was a tarp. I mean, I don't know that Brad and Andrew would tell you that, but it was a tarp on the wall and a small kind of startup feel and just a lot of growth. So it's been really cool to see that. All right, so, okay, so who are we? We are almost 20 years old. You can tell from the name Freedom Financial Network that we are a financial services company. The focus is on helping people to get in a better financial situation. We have about 2,200 employees. And as you can see, we have been ranked best place to work in the Valley for many, many years, coming in #1 or top 5, top 10. Really proud of that, because that's, our employees are voting us for that. So we will take that title. Again, about 2,200 employees. So our focus is when we're hiring, we're looking for people who have that passion to want to help others. And I know you know, a lot of our businesses are doing that. I know Megan's company is really doing that, you know, with the opiate addiction. And for us, it's really about finances, which is money, which is numbers, but can feel very emotional as well. So when we're growing our team, we're looking for people who have that care, have that empathy. We help people whose financial situation can range from very severe to less severe. Some people are in a pretty good position. They may have equity in their home and they just want to get out from under the compound interest of credit card debt. So if you see here on the spectrum, we have 3 different solutions in-house that we offer. Freedom Debt Relief, that's the debt settlement side. That's for somebody who's experienced a hardship. They really want to tackle that debt. It's going to take a little bit of sacrifice and some time, but we're working to get them beyond that debt and moving forward to continue to build. But we've also launched into other solutions as well. So in keeping with the culture of freedom, where the focus is on the customer, how can we help them? Can we truly consult with them when we're speaking with them? The focus is to get them to take a step somewhere, whether it's with us and some of the solutions that we offer, or you can see here, we also will refer out if that's a better solution for them. I don't think we even need to see the stats. I think some of us have experienced personally financial stress or difficulty, or we may know people who are experiencing that right now, or even pre-COVID, or things have been exacerbated because of COVID. But these are the people that we're helping. We're helping people who can't handle an expense that comes their way, or maybe the medical bills have gotten out of control, or they're just, you know, they're suffering a hardship and just need some help. That's the target audience. And there are many, many, many people, as you can see out there, that we're working to help get in a better situation with our solution. So working at Freedom, there are a lot of things, and I can't spend too much time on all of them, but just having worked for the company for such a long time, I have seen so much growth. I would say one of the things that I see that I think is really cool about Freedom is the feedback from our employees. And so we gather that feedback all different ways through surveys that we put out there. We're on Slack right now, you know, because we're working from homes. And so there's an app that kind of asks questions, asking for our ideas and feedback, and they take that and they implement it. You know, we can't implement every single thing. And sometimes, you know, for many, many years, we asked to be able to work from home, and that was always feedback that was shut down. And serendipitously enough, you know, you see us here now, but different groups available for our employees, for a safe space for them to be able to connect with others. These are a few of our groups. I think right now, especially in this, you know, in this social climate, it's important for people to feel that they are working in a space that is comfortable, that is inclusive, that is embracing of them, for them. And then we also come alongside them as allies. These are our core values. So we whittle this down to, you see the heart and dollar sign icon there, and that's what we call it, heart and dollar. When we are running a business, then of course we want to focus on that dollar. We want to be successful. We want to compensate our employees. We want to put that big building that you see up off the 202 there. You can't do that without money. But if you interview with us, you may find that some of your questions are centered around some of these core values here, because we do want to be sure that people who come in are aligned with that. And I would say that's, you know, the heart. We talk about balancing both of them, but if I had to throw a little extra weight on one side of the scale, I'd say it's the heart, because we really want to ensure that when we're speaking with our customers, we're being empathetic, we're hearing about their situations. Even someone like myself, I don't talk to our clients. I get to see some of the testimonials coming through, but I directly impact them because I'm interviewing people to join the team that are going to either speak with them or work on their files, or, you know, work with their creditors, or build the user dashboard that they're going to connect on. So having that care for the work that we do and the people that we're helping is really crucial when we're interviewing and hiring. Benefits. So definitely, I think in the time that I've been there, when I think about feedback and helping to expand and grow our benefits, I have seen those grow and shift. And really, we think about what we call like the wholehearted health now. And so it's, of course, your medical benefits. You want to be able to go to the doctor when you're not feeling well. but it's also the financial piece. And so there's things that we offer, of course, a 401k. We do have an employee assistance program. We have our own Freedom Family Fund for employees when they get hit with their own hardships, that they can, go and get some help. But also some of the proactive stuff too. So when we're thinking about the holistic piece, we have workout classes. And before, when we were all at that big campus next to Tempe Marketplace, we would do yoga kind of with a little bit of a meditative spin on it, Zumba classes. We had stairwell competitions, bikes that you could rent and take along the river there, just nutrition classes, like just so many to help us. So it doesn't get to the point where, now we need to run to the doctor when we're not feeling well. So they're kind of put all of that together. You can see some of those here, our mental, physical, and financial well-being. So these are some of the open positions that we have. If you go to ffnjobs.com, you'll be able to see a lot of them. So you might see these positions and think, oh, I don't think there's a position there for me. We have over 150 open positions today. 2021 has been tagged as the year of growth at Freedom. There is a lot going on. There's brand new teams being launched. There's that mortgage division that we're growing. So I would encourage you to go to FFN Jobs to look at the open positions, connect with me on LinkedIn. I put my LinkedIn profile in the chat there for you. And if there's a position that you're interested in, I love how the last recruiters really broke down the process. I did not do that and I apologize, but what I would say is my best tips for you would be to think about the department or the position that you're interested in, take a few minutes to tailor your resume to that. Really be sure you're taking care when you're completing the application. It's a quick process, but there are some specific questions that they ask. And then after you apply, feel free to message me. Let me know what you're interested in. I'm on a team of about 22. So if I don't work on the role that you're interested in, then I can connect you with someone who can. And I'll be in the breakout rooms if you have any questions on Freedom or any of our open positions.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks.
All right. It's so funny to hear you say that you guys called that this year the year of growth. I have been working with you guys for about 8 years, and I feel like every year has been the year of growth.
It is.
That's great. Well, thanks again for speaking today. All right, you guys, I am so excited to introduce our next speaker. So occasionally we bring in new partners, and we have created a new partnership with the Entrepreneur's Source. One of the things that has happened in this pandemic is a lot of people are asking, okay, am I going to go and continue with a kind of a more typical career path, one that I've been trained up for and one that I know, or am I going to look at something different? So we see a lot of people starting to do business ownership type things. And so we are bringing in some resources this year. You've met a couple, and this is another one, Anna Sherman. I'd like to introduce her to you guys. She has more than 20 years of experience in the field of career transition. She's been a career coach, recruiter, outplacement consultant, and a relocation expert. And prior to that, she worked in corporate finance and software project management. She also holds an MBA from the University of San Francisco and a BA in management economics from Simmons College in Boston. But in 2017, Anna was like a lot of us. She was looking for something different. She happened to attend a workshop on different franchising options and really liked the idea and the concept. So she bought her own franchise license with the Entrepreneur's Source and has been helping professionals discover options outside the traditional career path since then. And throughout her career, she's been focused on helping people get the job and life they loved. One of her favorite things to do is to be a matchmaker between people and resources. She leaves the romantic matchmaking to the professionals, but she loves giving people ideas, suggestions, resources, and hope as they navigate a confusing and frustrating situation. She is a coach and a facilitator, a career ownership coach. She works hard to really understand her clients, and each person has their own dreams and goals and unique set of skills and experiences. She helps her clients identify a vision for their future and a way to explore ways to achieve their vision. So Since becoming a franchise owner in 2017, she's helped hundreds of clients explore those options in a safe, fun, and educational environment. And most of all, most of them will never become franchise owners, but they did learn something about the options and possibilities that they knew ever existed. So Anna Sherman from Villa, we are so honored to partner with you and have you come in and talk to us about what you do. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so thrilled to be here. I got introduced to Career Connectors by a client of yours, a mutual client of ours, and she just sang your praises. And when I did some research, I said, this is an organization I want to be affiliated with, and I want to do anything I can to support you guys and your mission. I am just so impressed. And I've been in this field for 20 plus years. I don't want to do the numbers yet, but I've been in this field for a long time. And I've seen organizations like this. And some of them are good, some of them are bad, and this one's excellent. So you guys are in great hands, and I'm so thrilled to be partnering with you guys. So thank you for that. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about franchising and why I love it so much. Let's see, I'm pressing the button. There we go. So many people think franchising, and I'll get into some of the misconceptions in a few minutes, but so many people think franchising, and so many people think McDonald's and Subway, and that's all you think. And you think, I need $1 million, $1 trillion plus cash on hand just to even get in the door. In reality, franchising is so much more of that, and that's one of the reasons why I love what I do. A franchise fundamentally is a proven business system. All of you are in career transition, presumably, if you're here. And what I like about what I do is I give you a third option. So many people think about going back into the corporate world, and that's a great place. I've sworn to myself I wouldn't go back into the corporate world, but listening to some of these presentations, I'm telling you, I was tempted. It sounds like great organizations to work with. So most of you on this call are going to go back into the corporate world, and that's great. Many of you might consider starting your own business, and that's a great option too. Certainly provides a lot of freedom and a lot of benefits, but it also comes with tremendous risk, as you can imagine. And franchising is that nice intermediate step, I find. It's that idea that it's a proven business. You'll hear me say this again. There's a concept you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And what that means fundamentally is I own my own business. I am a franchisee. I am a licensee of the franchise, the Entrepreneur Source, but it's my business. I choose when I want to work, how I want to work, what do I want to do, how do I want to spend my money, when do I want to bring on employees, whatever. But I'm not by myself. So a little behind the scenes, a little bit behind the sausage making. You'll see all of these slides. I think they're very well done. I had nothing to do with it. The franchise that I did, that I work with, had created all of these. Even more behind the scenes, I encourage all of you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I love connections. I've got about 5,000 now, I think, last time I checked. And you'll see that I'm a prolific poster. I post all kinds of great content on there. And I can brag about it because, again, I had nothing to do with it. My franchise takes care of that for me, which is a really powerful thing. They do the marketing, the legal, the strategic planning, the training, and I get to focus on what I love doing, and that's coaching people. So continuing on, franchising is essentially a win-win business relationship. So the franchise is something, when you're buying a franchise, you're buying a proven business model. You're buying access to the support. They are going to not only train you on how to run your franchise and get started, but they're going to maintain and help you throughout the whole time, which is fantastic. You do have some regulatory, there we go, oversight, and that's huge. That means that protects you as a consumer of a potential franchise. We can talk about all of the specifics another time. I'm happy to talk about some of them in the breakout rooms. Franchising is really fit for anybody who's wanted to own their own business. Everything is taken care of for you. To become a franchise takes tens of, not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is to start a brand new franchise. And you have to prove that you have years and years and years of profitable experience. So when you get something, when you buy a franchise, you are buying a proven business model. You're buying a recipe for success. The things that I have heard from my colleagues and coaches and mentors, the three biggest components of success, and I won't say the guaranteers of success, but certainly the tremendous components are: can you follow the model? Are you coachable? And do you have the right attitude? All three of those are easy to achieve, and all of us on this call can bring that to you. But because it's a proven business model, it makes things so much easier. We're going to go over the spelling of some myths. Yes, this presentation has some small font. I recognize that. I will put my email and my contact information, my LinkedIn profile, in the chat so that you can email me. I will also put my online calendar in there. So if you're interested in having a free conversation, you see the sign behind me, welcome to the safe zone. I put that there on purpose, because what I do is provide a safe place for people to explore. There is no cost, no obligation ever to working with me. It's just a fun, safe environment to see what's out there. So let's go through some of the myths. Yes, this is an eye chart. It's designed to be an eye chart. But you can see that most people think franchises and they think Subway, McDonald's, 7-Eleven. In reality, only 20% of franchises in the world, and only 4% of we have a couple hundred franchises, and only 4% have anything to do with food. So there's all kinds of different things: business services, real estate, personal services, retail, automotive, fitness, all of this other stuff. There's just a huge amount of things that are available. Finding the right business will make me successful. Dirty little secret about franchising, that you can only be successful in the right business. I'll tell you, franchising is a good person managing a good system. Most of you, I imagine, in talking with Jessica and Sheila on here, that most of your colleagues, most of the people on here are mid to late careers. You didn't get to being a successful professional by doing nothing. You didn't do that. You got that by following systems and programs and ideas and making things happen. That's what makes a good franchisee. That's what makes a person who's going to be successful. Finding a business that I'm going to love, well, that's certainly nice, but it's not mandatory. You need to be thinking about what's important to you. And in working with me, what I do is I dig below the surface. What are your goals? Where are you trying to go? What are you trying to be? What do you want to be doing on a daily basis? What are your financial goals, your lifestyle goals, all of that stuff? And that's my role, is to help you identify that, in which case then the franchise and the industry becomes irrelevant. You can achieve those amazing goals running a cleaning business just as much as you could achieve that by running a business that you absolutely love, the industry. So that's one of the things. I'll know the right opportunity when I see it. Wrong. About 80% of my clients sometimes hated the options that I presented to them. Absolutely hated them. I'll tell you a funny story, a quick story. I was working with a client. He's in Southern California, and he hated the options when I presented them to him. He got on the call with me and said, Anna, I hated them. I thought they were awful. I was so pissed at you. I thought you hadn't listened to me. I thought you hadn't taken anything about me into consideration. But he said, I promised you I'd have a conversation with each of the 3 franchises that you introduced me to. And I did. And one of them, not a fit. But the other 2, they are fantastic. I just love them. And so he did his due diligence and found one that's a great fit for him. And he is taken off. So he was the first person to admit that he hated that. So keep an open mind. They will teach you, the franchisor will teach you everything you need to know to run your business and give you the ongoing support. You have tremendous flexibility. Certainly there are some franchises, such as the McDonald's I put in the world, that, you know, they have very specific criteria for how to run your business. And for some people, that's fantastic. For me, that was incredibly frustrating. I would not like that. I want tremendous flexibility. So in my particular franchise, we call it an 8-lane highway with bumpers. So I have tremendous flexibility within that. You can't be creative. You can be very creative. And a franchise requires more money than I can afford. This is one of my favorite ones. Franchisees who had, it looks like somebody bought a franchise and didn't have a whole lot of money. I love that, exactly. Franchisees, the big ones that you're thinking of, McDonald's, Subways, things like that, those cost millions of dollars and you'd have to have cash on hand. In reality, the franchises in our system, and again, we have a couple hundred to choose from, the franchises in our system cost between $75,000 and $150,000 to $200,000. So not nothing. Not a lot of people have a couple $100,000 in their back pocket that they want to put down on a franchise. In reality, the funding is very, very readily available. There are very few people for whom I can't get funded. And there are lots of franchises that are in those $75,000 and below. So again, got great, great opportunities. Going forward a little bit, this goes into a little bit more detail. I encourage you, like I said, I'll put my email address in the chat box in a second so that you have that. I'm happy to send you my slides. I'm also happy to tell you more about what I do. So most people think that it's retail, fast food. Most people think it's not on here, but most people think that you have to have a brick and mortar. In reality, a lot of my franchises can be done from home. So many of us gotten used to working from home and really enjoying that. There was a conversation earlier about being marketable, and that's certainly true, but there's also lots of franchises where you don't have to be working from an office. There's myth that people, that you can only, that they will take everything from you and that you have nothing to do, that they will take all of your money. Remember, it's a win-win solution. The more money you make, the more money the franchisor makes. And that's a huge, huge thing. They have a vested interest in making you as successful as humanly possible. And where often do you don't find that too often, which is nice. And you don't have to know anything about running a business. Granted, a lot of the franchises, a lot of clients that I work with have a strong business background, but I've also worked with people who've never run a business, who have never even worked in a business. And so there's lots of options for that as well. The concept, again, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And I think that's so, so crucial. I own my business. I get to do what I want to with my business, but I have the tremendous support. So, for example, I don't have to do any of the legal things. I don't have to do any of the accounts receivable. I don't have to do any of the marketing. My franchises negotiated a tremendous discount with LinkedIn. If you want to be on some of their very highest levels, it costs tens of thousands of dollars. I pay a tiny fraction of that. I don't have to worry about the strategic planning. They're managing all of that for me. And it really allows me then to focus on doing what I do best. And with that, I believe I am out of time. I am going to put my information. Let's see if I can get this up. So here is my information about me. So it has, let's see if that came out all right. It looks like it came out all right. The first one, the schedule call, that is my online calendar. That's the most efficient way. Please get on my call. And when it says where may I help you, please put in Career Connector so I know where you came from, and I'm happy to talk with you. You see my cell phone. That is my personal phone. So feel free to call that. My personal email, my personal email, my website, that's my personal website, and of course, my LinkedIn account. And I encourage all of you, please connect with me. One final thing that I'd like to offer all of you, My information is not showing. Thank you. I think I sent it to just to one person. So thank you for that. How is that? Can everyone see my contact information now? Great, thanks. One final thing that I want to offer all of you in the interest of giving, because I believe givers gain. My husband is a director of engineering at Facebook, little company you may have heard of. They, of course, hiring tremendously. Please go onto their website. If you find a job that you'd like, send me your resume. Don't apply online. Send me your resume. I will get it to my husband, who can get it to the right person. Make sure you specify which job you're interested in. And we do this because I love giving back. Because my husband's now a director, we don't get any financial benefit from it, and I just get the benefit of helping people. So again, every job on Facebook is listed. If you find something you like, please go on there. And with that, I think I'm out of time. So thank you very much, everyone.
Anna, thank you so much for being here. I love the ability to have your organization with us, where that's a balance between kind of corporate and then being in business ownership on your own. You really have that middle ground. So I'm excited. I hope some of our people find a gifting in this kind of industry and community. And I'm really excited to hear some stories from this. Thank you so much. All right. We are now going to close out for a couple, I'm just going to close out a couple things and give you guys some additional resources. And then Sheila's going to walk us through the breakouts where you can go and meet different people that have spoken today. So first of all, if you have any feedback for us, if you have some ideas on future events that you'd like to see, some companies, or additional feedback on any of our speakers or the process today, we would love to hear from you. contact@careerconnectors.org. Also, we're always looking for testimonials to feature people and at our events. And so if you have any testimonials, if you'd like to share anything with us, we would love that. We like to include that sometimes in our newsletters, our email updates, or on our website and social media. So thanks for providing that feedback. I want to say thank you so much to our corporate partners. As I mentioned, we have a new one today with the Entrepreneur Source, but all of these companies listed here do an incredible job of helping get the word out about this program throughout our community. So we're so incredibly grateful to them. One of the companies is Top Talent Consulting, and they provide the DISC assessment for us at no cost. And that's typically a $99 assessment. You get it for free. As long as you go to that link, you'll need to drop in your resume, and then I think your resume, but you got to fill out a form, and then you will take the assessment. It'll take you about 10 minutes or so. You'll get a 24-page assessment. In fact, the reason I missed this morning is because I was doing a podcast and they were interviewing me about the DISC assessment. And so I will have those links live as well, so you guys can get some content on that. But it's a really great tool to help you as you're identifying your career choices in the future. We also are blogging the event today. And so that'll be posted on our website under the event recap blog. And so if you missed anything or you want to reference some of the companies or the speakers, that content will be out there as well. We have a lot of social media platforms available. We're really active on LinkedIn, and so we post our events there. Companies post jobs there. And so if you're interested in connecting with us on LinkedIn, we would love that. All right, so our next event is Thursday, April 22nd. How to use LinkedIn in 15 minutes a day. It's really a thing, and that's all you need. So go ahead and register for that event. You can see the 4 companies right there that are going to be hiring that day. And then Clara Chorley is back. Oh, by the way, Brenda Cunningham, you guys, fantastic speaker. She's an author, she's a coach, she's a resume writer. She's phenomenal. And I love how she's very direct. She will give you a process moving forward. Love her. And then on May 6th, we're going to hear from Clara Chorley, the Career Success Formula, 4 stages of optimal job seeking success. And then you can see the companies that we have listed there as well. Now on Thursday, May 13th, we do a corporate diversity equality event every single year. This year we're doing 2, and the first one is May 13th. And so these are 20 companies that have diversity initiatives in the state of Arizona that are really look at diversity and inclusion and equality as corporate initiatives. And so we'll be announcing those companies in the next couple of weeks, and that will be a larger career event where we'll have 20 companies featured that day. So Thursday, May 13th for that one. Really cool thing that's happening. Gordon Murray with Flash Photo is offering no cost photos. He's traveling around the Phoenix area taking headshots because we can't do them at events right now, which is typical what we usually do, and there are no costs to them. So just register or get on to his website. The website is listed there, and you can go and to one of his events. And it's not a full event. It's just him and taking your photo. It doesn't cost anything. He does take donations if you'd like to donate or if you'd like additional retouching, but he's phenomenal. He is really good, you guys, and you can use that photo for your LinkedIn profile. And this is our website. You can, if you look under CC webinars, that's where this event will be posted. And then we have additional events where I have some content where I do occasional chats that are 3 to 5 minute videos about different career things. And then we also have a community updates in there where I'm interviewing different people. Thank you so much to our volunteers. You guys are phenomenal. And so here are some of your volunteers for today, and you're going to be able to meet some of them during the breakout sessions. Karen, thank you. You're new today. Thank you so much for offering to volunteer and do an event recap. And then also, you know, this program takes over 100 volunteers to run, even in the virtual format. So thank you all to that and for pivoting this year and making this happen. We are in need of blog writers. And so if you're interested in signing up and blogging once a month, you can do it right from your jammies at home if you would like, or right on your break. You can take a break, but if you serve once a month, we would greatly appreciate it. So we're looking for some bloggers, some writers, and you can contact Sheila at careerconnectors.org. Now, I don't know, some of you on the line we're part of Arizona Gives Day on Tuesday. If you gave to us to help make our programs continue, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know some of you did that are on the line. I haven't caught up with all my thank yous yet, but those will be going out. So thank you. Without your donations, we would not be able to do what we do. And so if you're interested in donating, it costs us $42 per person to run this program. You can donate right on that website. Don't feel obligated, but if you would like to give back when it's time and when you've landed your job, we were very grateful. We would be very grateful if you would think of us. And so this is how we fund our budget to make this program continue to happen. And hopefully we'll also be getting back to live events soon. And so we would love to see you there. All right, you guys, thank you for being part of this. Thank you to my team for stepping up today and the components and the pieces I couldn't be here. And thank you to all of our wonderful speakers. But I want each of you to know that we are praying for you, that you do land into the career of your dreams. Thank you all for being here. And I'm going to throw it over to Sheila to take us.